Well, it is 41 degrees out today. A good day for some hot coffee. Pour over coffee. Here is my favorite recipe. You're gonna need 30 grams of ground coffee. Coffee of your choice. You don't want a very fine grind. You want it to be a medium coarse grind. You do not want an espresso grind. The water will not flow if the coffee grounds are too finely ground. If you don't have a gram scale, that is okay. You may have a standard coffee scoop. This coffee scoop comes in a lot of coffee, bags of coffee, ground coffee, what have you. This one came with my AeroPress. If you don't have one of these, no problem. I bet you have one of these, a 1 tablespoon measure. Okay, so 2 tablespoons go to one of these scoops, and 3 of these scoops is necessary to get about 30 grams. So if you don't have one of these, just double this number to 6 of tablespoons. So 6 tablespoons of coffee will get you about 30 grams. All right, then next we have the water, of course, 200 to 300 grams of hot water. Again, if you don't have a gram scale, that would be 7 to 10 fluid ounces in your favorite measuring cup. You can just measure the water first, boil it on the stove, and then dose the water as you'll see me do later in the video. And the hot water, it's important if you can to have the hot water be between 190 and 200. I realize this is a pretty precise range of temperatures. It's more important, I feel like, that you're not above this number. You're gonna get that burnt, scorched coffee flavor. So try to keep it under 200 if you can. Here's an easy tip. If you don't have a thermostat or thermometer, you can bring water to a boil, like bring 10 ounces of water to a boil, and then turn off the heat, and then about 30 to 60 seconds later, it'll be sub 200. Again, that depends on a lot of variables. So that's the basic recipe. 30 grams of medium coarse ground coffee and about 300 grams of hot water between 190 and 200 degrees. So this is something that you may not have at home. This is probably the most crucial thing for this recipe is the pour over coffee basket. This is a special guy. It looks like a teacup on a little saucer. This is all connected. This is a ceramic piece, and the special feature of this piece is that it has 3 holes on the underside so that water can flow through it. That's basically your coffee machine. There it is. That's how your coffee maker works. When you put in a filter in the coffee basket, you put ground coffee in, and then the machine typically doses out the hot water over it. We're just going to do that manually. So that's my favorite mug. This sits right on top of that mug, like this. Basically that's your coffee machine. That's your coffee machine. The only 2 things that we need to add here is the coffee and then the water. That's about it. I covered the coffee, ground coffee, medium coarse, a digital scale, or some kind of measuring devices. Filters, number 2 for a single cup seems to be the best and most versatile. You can make this smaller, you can't make a small filter bigger. Better to be oversized and folded. Your basket, your filter, your cup. I think we're ready to brew. First step is you need to prep your filter for your pour over basket. So first you're gonna fold this along this bottom perforation there and kind of turn the filter and fold inward like that. And basically we're just getting rid of excess material so that this filter can fit into this filter pour over basket. Make a cup and put that right into your filter basket. There you go, there's your coffee machine. Okay, so step 2, you want to set up your favorite mug and put that prepped filter basket on top there. I recommend wetting your filter prior to putting coffee in there. And what that is going to do is it's going to let the water flow more freely once the coffee is in there and we start pouring hot water over it. This filter is going to let the water flow through easier now that it is pre-moistened. What you don't want to do is leave that water in there because that water is going to water down your coffee, okay? So we're going to discard that. Okay, now that your mug is empty, your coffee, that water is discarded, You put the mug back centered on your scale, and you put the coffee basket back now with the pre-moistened filter on there. 30 grams of coarsely ground coffee. Going to put in right in here. You do not want to pack this down. You want this to be more or less loose. What I like to do is give it, Rachel Ray would say, give it a zhuzh. Give it a little zhuzh. Shake it just to make the coffee grounds kind of spread out and even out so that you don't have a mound in the middle. That's gonna make the water kind of flow more evenly across the coffee. Turn on the scale. We're gonna want that to be on grams. The first introduction of water will be what is called the bloom. The bloom is going to be about 30 grams of water. The bloom is typically about 10% of total coffee weight. We have 300 grams of coffee. 10% of that is 30 grams. So the bloom for this, the first initial water for this is going to be 30 grams. And I'm gonna start the timer at the same time I introduce the first water. And going for 30 grams. You wanna introduce water in kind of a spiral fashion. There we go. And this is the bloom. And the grounds are going to swell up. Okay, it's been over 30 seconds. I'm gonna add the first, I add water and additions of about 50 grams. So I'm gonna do about 50. You don't wanna flood this, this filter and the coffee. If you flood this, the water is going to run out and over the grounds. It's gonna find its way down into your cup without passing through and grabbing those really nice coffee flavors and textures. So I really encourage you not to rush this. This whole process from first introduction of water to when you're drinking coffee shouldn't be more than 5 minutes. So it's not something that you need to rush. This is faster than a trip to the coffee shop. I'm gonna add some more water. There we go. Some more water. I'm using a gooseneck kettle. This is a gooseneck style kettle with a very specific spout like that. If you don't have that, do not fret, my pet. You have a saucepan and you probably have a ladle, and you can ladle water over the coffee just like this. Now, if you're going to choose to do it this way, please be careful, especially if you have young children and pets in the house. But you do not need, if you just want to try this style of coffee, you don't have to invest in anything outside of a box of filters and this pour over basket. I really like this method of brewing because just about anybody can do this. No matter where you are in the world, you can appreciate a freshly brewed cup of pour over coffee. We're right up there. 270 is good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I got my little knockout box here. Pick this up. So there you go. There's about 270 grams, or about, I'd say about 8 or 9 ounces of water. This really is very fun, hands-on. I really encourage you to seek it out and give it to yourself at home. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you guys learned something. If you would like to see more videos on the topics of lifting, cooking, coffee, and life in general, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll make sure to make more videos about these topics. Now, let's see. We've done a cooking video. We've done a coffee video now. We just did that. So that leaves lifting and life. 2 pretty heavy subjects, if you ask me. Come with me if you want to lift. See you next time, guys.